Hello again, everybody. It's Harry Box of the Technical Trader at thetechtrader.com. It's Saturday, January the 6th. This is the weekend webinar. Well, a difficult end to the week. The markets were down most of the week, starting off the year. We finally got some green on the board, but I'm not convinced, to say the least. Here's the S&P 500. You can see we were down for 4 days and slight bounce on Friday. What it looks like is possible left shoulder, head, right shoulder if we do not get above 47, 45, 50. Or if we get up there and roll over and then take out support, I think this week's support at 46.82 will be key. If we break it, we're looking at 46 and 45.40 as potential downside targets. Key support at 45.40 area where there's moving average and lateral price support. But a break of where we are now should lead to a much deeper retrace, and then we are probably headed lower for a bit. Nasdaq 100. Already broken support, as you can see, and now below the 10 and 21-day moving averages. The next lateral price support is right about 16,175, which is 140 points from here, 130 points. So it's going to be interesting to see whether we can get back above the 16.6 area, or whether they roll over and take out key support right now at about 16,175. If we do that, we probably test a 50 that comes in around 15,875. Beneath that, you have this lateral support at 15,760. So we're vulnerable to about 500 or 600 points if we don't get going soon and make this the key support zone right there at the parallel line. So even though we got a little bit more vulnerability potentially, just have to see what the market gives us. The transportation index also weakened last week. You can see below the trend line, below lateral price support, and below two moving averages. So in essence, the trend may have changed there. Your next key support is the neckline of the inverse head and shoulder and the platform that held several times. That would be a 15,150.55 area. Beneath that, the market's in trouble. Small cap index took a pretty good hit. Came down for now 6 days in a row. As you can see, 205 to 190, to 15 points down in less than a week. It's a pretty strong hit, and the trend line was taken out as well. So where's the next support? I have to say right about where it is, maybe right there where Friday's low was. So Friday's low gets taken out. We're probably heading for a test of somewhere around 182, 183. So let's just see what the market gives us next week. But trend lines are broken on the IWM and the Dow Transportation, with the Nasdaq also below the short-term trend line, S&P as well, but near the channel bottom in my opinion. Where's the oscillator? The Cullen oscillator got down to minus 127 at the low. That's the lowest reading since October. And so a bounce was ensued. It wasn't a surprise to me. The question is, where do we go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week? Well, if we don't get through the zero line again, this thing could come down to minus 150 to 200 and get a much deeper oversold condition, which wouldn't shock me at this point. The percentage of stocks above their 40 finally giving way here, as we were up at 3/4 of stocks, and now it's 2/3. Still not terrible. Funny that the VIX isn't reacting worse. If you're getting up to as high as 1458, which is not big, it dropped back to 1335, and again, this is not indicative of a market where fear is involved. Now look at the components, and this is where the weakness comes in. Take a look at Apple. It's really leading the way lower with a breakaway gap on it, and they're being investigated by I think the EU, and maybe just a couple other investigations going on. But here's the bottom line: Apple's dropped from, in 3 weeks, just under 200 to 180. Substantial drop, and it's below 2 layers of support and moving averages. So very negative action, similar to what we saw here, which led to a little bounce and then a lower level. Wouldn't be shocked to see Apple do that at some point. That's not going to help the market. Apple needs to get going. Amazon, right back to support after breaking a bull flag to the downside. If Amazon early next week drops under 142.5, we could see that stock quickly to 139 or less. Google, Google backed off the highs. This is a new multi-year high, but not all-time high. Got to the spring of 22 high, so about almost a 2-year high. But it's backed off now to test key next support, 134.5, 35. Yeah, 135 is support, 134.5 is trend line. So in that 134.5 is your next support for Google. Microsoft still holding the trend line, moving average, and lateral price support. But a break on Microsoft on a 262 3/4 roughly could lead to a much deeper retrace and add to a market pullback. But a hold of this level and then a breakout of 277 could really help fuel a market rally. So we're at a critical level in the market. Semiconductors, a pretty good Friday, and you can see that NVIDIA, which had backed off to test support, has been holding around the 473.75 zone for a week and now snap back on Friday. And here's the key. You got triple top resistance there, 5505. You get through that, NVIDIA could help lead the market higher. So it's kind of a mixed picture. Netflix, not too bad, 3 days in a row of strength in a weak market, but we don't want that one below 461. Secondary support would be 445.6. If it holds this area, let's just change the angle a little bit. That's what it feels like. So I'd be looking for 535, 540 if we get a breakout above 500, 501. So Netflix gets over 500, it may have some upside. And this is looking like a 1, 2, 3, 4. So a fifth wave would make sense there. Meta, solid day Friday, up 528 in a lousy market. You can see that this 1, 2, 3, 4 could lead to a fifth wave to 375. And finally, Tesla, tough week. Between Apple and Tesla, that's going to hurt the market. Key support, 227.8 on Tesla. Below that, there's big problems. If I can get it back above, say, 250, then maybe we can get this thing to bottom here, what looks like a possible parallel trend line bottom, and then move back up into a new area around 270.75. Now we'll look at some of the other ETFs we follow closely. Semiconductors, well, they were lousy for a few days and they broke key initial support. Secondary support at the prior highs are right there. Any further damage, we're going down to 158.60, and a break under 157 would be very negative, very, very negative for not only for semiconductors, but the market in general. You can see the long uptrend we've had. It looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4. Fifth wave is a 1, 2, 3, 4. So maybe one more leg up. It could be a sharp one. But at the same time, any break here would probably test the 157 area and 9 points below here. And that won't be good for the market if that occurs, obviously. But on the strength side, look at financials. Rip City. Interest rates potentially coming down in the next meeting or beyond that. Financials have rallied sharply. 48 to 83 with Goldman Sachs. And many of the large banks like MS, Citi, and BAC, all really strong. As a matter of fact, Citicorp is the strongest of the four right now. That's one more look. Look at that run up. 38 to 55. And that means it's out of a base pattern that's been developing for a year and a half. And when you get a major bank doing that, a move here could get you all the way up in the high 60s. So keep an eye on this one. I would love to see a pullback entry opportunity closer to 50, 51.5, but certainly strong momentum on Citicorp. Biotech's also stellar. XBI has been phenomenal. Since I pointed out that there is a quadruple bottom down in that zone of 66.7, that was back in November. It then double bottomed on a retest at 65 after reaching a low of 63.80, and then all the way up to 92 in just a couple months. So it was a tough Friday out for biotech for the most part. You can see it's right near the trend line. And so if we can hold it here, your next target is 97.8 for XPI. The financials, next target in the high 90s. Should it hold? If not, 78 is support. And so financial strong, biotech strong, semiconductors not so much, but there's a possibility that if they hold them here, we get a fifth wave up on semiconductors. So I'm not discounting the fact that the market's at a critical level, but it could explode from here for at least a few days. We'll see what the market gives us. But there's a look at the major ETFs we follow for semiconductors, biotech, and financials. Other ETFs of note, oil has recovered, although it still looks to me like a major downtrend is in play. It's right back at the declining top line. And any move on oil here should yield a rally back up to 71 and 74 as targets on the USO. UCO looks similar, not quite as strong. And we follow GUSH, which has an inverse head and shoulders, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. And the key on GUSH is going to be if this thing gets over 35, we may have a runner into the 42 and $50 ranges. Love that pattern. The bottom right hand extension. Either way you look at it, it's potential setup for extension. We got to get the breakout first. Don't anticipate. Gold. I'm not sure why anybody's excited about gold. I thought, oh, maybe we're getting going now because the inverse head and shoulders broke out. The retest was deep, maybe a sign of why we should be cautious. The run-up wasn't great, and now another deep retest is in jeopardy of breaking the uptrend at some place on the GDX. GLD is in much better position as it follows the price of gold itself. I'll notice that a lot of gold stocks are not keeping up with the price of gold, kind of a negative divergence there. So the jury's still out on that, and I hate the way silver is looking. Look at the AGQ here. You break that level, you're in trouble. Now, one stock I do like, and it's a swing, is Wheaton, which is a market leader. And it's in a beautiful uptrend, but it also has had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves up. Now, this might be truncated or shortened. So I think evidence of a continuing trend would require WPM to be over 51 to get it going into the mid-50s. I would stop this one under 45.5 3/4. So that's a look at those, and we have a lot of stocks to go over, folks. Just a few shorts as well. For now, though, let's take a look at the stocks I could deem the strongest, or the stocks that are currently swings. The AAOI pulled back and bounced. This is an area you got to stop it under, in my opinion. I don't want this one under 15 3/4. If it's able to rectify, reestablish the pattern, and it's not that far away from doing it, once it takes out 24.5, I think you're on your way to 30 and 35, but that remains to be seen. ACET, long downtrend, in the mid-20s down to 1. Big uptrend now is taking to 2.5. Your target's 3.5 on momentum. ADMA, little junior biotech with a beautiful uptrend, but in the last few months came down and bounced, consolidated a 3-wave corrective above the moving averages, ran up to form a double top and backed off. But extension targets now 5.5 and 7. AFRM finally pulled back after a beautiful uptrend. At this point, I'm a little concerned, and I don't want to see it under 39.40. But if it manages to reestablish a trend or create this as an uptrend, maybe looking at a stock at 70 or 75 over the next few weeks and months, depending on the market, of course. Just giving you upside projections, folks, in case the market does want to extend. Now, ALAR is a beauty. Take a look at this, multiple waves up, and then finally a really strong extension. 430 to 995, more than doubling just in the last 3 weeks. The target is 14 now. ALT's been awesome with a 1, 2, 3, and 4. Fifth wave takes me to high teens, I believe, with a stop under 945. AMD, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is going to be a key in determining whether the SMH makes a much better move or not. If we do get a fifth wave on this, along with NVIDIA, we may be able to get a strong run in the SMH and as a result, the market. For now, though, the measured move and the projections are 164. It ties in with the all-time high back in 21. ANF, as strong as he gets in the retail sector, has gone from a May low of 21.75 to a high near 94. Pretty strong move, wouldn't you say? The pullback was shallow as well. I'm now projecting $100. APLD. Well, after breaking out and then pulling back in a long downtrend over several months, it reversed and is in a new uptrend, targeting 8.5 and 11. ARDX breaks out of a platform after a long run-up that consolidated the move and then broke it out. We tested it, popped, now flagging, target near 8. ASPN, beautiful base, breakout flag, run-up, retest, right on the moving average, right on the trend line. This needs to hold here. Your stop's under 13, your target's 20. AUTL, ongoing swing trade, looking good, but the pullback here has me a bit concerned that it's on support and it could crack, and if it does, it'll test the trend line. So for now, looking for 8, but have a caution sign up at around 6.25. Big breakout on AXGN on Friday where it exploded from 7.25 to 8.85, finished up 176 or 26%, coming out of a falling wedge right there. Nice pattern, good momentum. Upside target now 10. BBIO has been a very strong uptrend since it broke the base, formed the coil, and popped out. Then had a multi-month consolidation pullback channel. Broke out of that after basing and platforming. You can see the run-up that took this one from low 20s to mid 40s. And on a long-term basis, 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth wave underway. Could lead and may lead to much higher levels, perhaps even in the 70s and 80s. Stay tuned, this could be a big one. CABA, break out of a big base here, or at least a V-bottom base. Strong run-up, multi-month consolidation, breakout, retest. Kind of choppy, but currently flagging, looking for 27.8. CAMT, breaks out of a wedge, pops to the channel, top, pulls back. Configuration says 77 is your target. CBAY, tech trader swing, ongoing beautiful channel, got to the top of the channel, backed off. Not a surprise, we'd like to see it hold here, and if it does, I project 28. CCCC with an explosive move and a pullback is now edging higher. And should it get above here, 9.5 and 12 are targets. CDNA popped and broke out. We put a swing on it and ran up to target, coiled, popped, retested, and popped again. And now in a pullback mode in the channel. If we hold here, 14 target. CDT, after breaking out of a base, it's coiling beautifully with really good technicals. Just something I want you to keep an eye on. It could go. It's one of those stocks with a big run, big spread. So I think a retest is in order of about the 7.5, 3/4 range for starters. CGNT, Cognite, which is something we've been looking at for a year now, after it broke out here and then flagged. Ran up to target, pull back, it's run again, it's now pulling back again. It looks like a 3-wave corrective. Hard to tell, but market cooperating, it should be 7.5, if not more. CLBT, a beautiful uptrend, 1, 2, 3, 4 at 5. This is a 1, 2 of 5, 3, 4, and 5 of 5. Gets me to near 11. CLS, beautiful long-term chart. The key is the breakout here and the rising channel there. Target 37. COLL, multi-year highs, all-time highs. Been following the stock for years. This is a massive breakout. Target 39. Koya, as you know, we've been following this for months. Beautiful base breakout. Look at that platform. If this ever gets above 7.99, if it gets above 8, 9.25, and 11 are targets. Credo broke out. We put a swing and immediately backed off and maybe in jeopardy of a breakdown. It's right on support. Any further damage, this is a stop under 17. Sierra Kinetics also broke out, ran up to a target and backed off. I still like it unless it breaks down underneath 31. Target 38 and 42. Carvana, after a big run up and a pullback, a nice orderly pullback, it's testing support. Any movement from here should get you a retest of 62, 70, and even 85.90, longer term. CYTK with an explosive massive breakaway gap and a rising flag. Very, very strong pattern. Should lead to 105.10. Dell, Gave you a swing when it popped out. It then took a few weeks to coil, broke out, retested, and popped again. Recently made a new all-time high at 77.5. We get out of this little consolidation, you might be looking at 80, 85 and above. DKNG broke support and is on the trend line. Any further damage and you are out. Long-term trend is a 5-wave advance, but this could be 1 and 2 of 5, and we can still see much higher levels in the mid-40s and low 50s if the market cooperates. DRCT, very strong move, breakaway gap, strong run. It saw it go from 3 or 2.5 all the way up to 18. Huge move. It's that kind of a stock. It could accelerate into the low to mid-20s if it gets above the high of 1790. DRS, an aerospace company with a beautiful rising channel, consolidating in a zone, forming some sort of coil. The movement out of this coil could get to 22 and 25. DYN, rumors of a takeover, have accelerated this one. Technical breakout occurred Wednesday actually, and then Thursday pullback, breakout, Friday pullback. Still a very strong chart pattern. It's telling you made it 22, 24, and even 30 may be doable. EDU, the Chinese educator. What a beautiful chart this is, from 9 to 90. Nearly 83 and change. Next target would be 95 and 115. Elon breaks a long trend, retests, breaks out here, spikes up, breaks out again, looking for 17, 18, 19. EYPT popped and pulled back. We put a swing on it. It moved from 20 and change to 24 and change, but then backed off again. As long as it holds at that gap at 17, 30, 40, I'm good for a move to 24 and 30. FRO in the shipping group, which is as strong as any group in Wall Street right now. Look at this chart. We get through this area, I think 25 and 28 are targets for FRO. For solar. Solars are weak. FRO, one of the stalwarts. Take a look at the W bottom breakout flag pattern or platform. Either way, I can see 190 and even 200 again. Fusion running hard from 2.25 to 10.30 over the last 3-4 months. Let's pull back to test support right there. If we do go, 11.5 and 13 year extension targets. In the Bitcoin or crypto realm, we had a long move on GBTC that took it from 7.75 all the way into the 37 range. It's overextended. It's at resistance. It's dangerous. Meta could take this higher. Mid-50s or even high 50s might be doable. GCT, beautiful charge channel, and a nice runner, 26 target. GEO, tech trader swing, popped out of the base, and just kept running in the channel. It's gone from 8 to 11 and change, target 12.5. GNK, nice base breakout, pullback. This is a shipping group strong, my target 19.5. GOGL is yet another in the same group, and it's at resistance, but your next target is 11.5. GPS, one of the stronger retailers with a breakaway gap, a run up and now flagging in this area. If it breaks out, 25 is your target. GitLab, love the long-term look. After a breakaway gap and a multi-month base, it broke out again. Now it's retesting. At support or near it, next target 70 and 78. HDSN broke out of a coil, but reversed Thursday. Careful on this one. It's had a long run. Literally gone from 35 cents to $14.5. IDYA, a junior biotech that I like a lot, has run from 13 and change to mid-30s and pull back. Extension target on this, 38 and 40. IMVT, beautiful stair-step moves for the last 2 years, has taken it from 3 to nearly 50. Double top here at 44, mid-40s, sorry. Breakout pitch at 50 and 55. Intel. Well, Intel's been a favorite of mine since 28 when it broke out there, but it then backed off. Since then, stair-stepping its way higher. It made it to my 51 target. 51.28 was reached a week ago. A fifth wave target now gets me to 56. INVA, coming out of a base and running hard, beautiful chart, has gone from 12 and change to 16 and change. Looking at the long-term target, now 21 is a target. Iovance, beautiful run up since the October low. It's taken it from 3.25 to 9. And with resistance here, going may get tougher. If it does go, though, 10 and 12 are targets. Jack Pacific breaks out of a base with a breakaway run, and it's a beautiful rising channel with a target of 40 and 44. Low price Copen came out of a flag. It's run up almost every day until Friday when it reversed a bit. But once we get to 235, I'm looking for 3, 4, and 5. Chimera reversed sharply in November, coming off the $10 range. It's tripled to 30 and has good momentum that may even reach 33, 35. LBPH exploded and flagging. I put a swing on it. I believe it's going higher, looking for low 30s and high 30s. LMB's been in a phenomenal uptrend for a year, more than a year and a half now. It's taken it from 5 to 49 at extension targets of 52 and 60. Logitech, a tech trader swing when it broke out, consolidated, popped again and ran, reaching all of my targets and then some. My next target is about 99 to 100. LQDA has really had a big run. It's been more than doubled just since November. And looking at the overall chart, it's now above the highest level reached since 2019, a 4-year high, 5-year high now. Extension target 18. LQR recently reversing and flagging broke out on Friday. Keep an eye on this one for move to 7 and 9. LTRX, I originally gave you a swing when it popped here, but it didn't break out, then it backed off. But look at the comeback and now wedging. Friday was a good day for it, and showing an engulfing reversal bar, which tells me if it breaks out of that, we may be headed to 8 and then 10. Those are my next targets. Mara got hit hard but bounced nicely. Careful here though. If it doesn't advance over 27 and then pulls over under 20, you're looking at 15 again. METC. This coal stock is beautiful symmetrically. Pop flag, pop coil, pop flag, pop larger flag, breakout. Looking for 22 and 26. MGNX breaks out of a base. This had been a steady runner since mid-October when it was 4.5, and it more than doubled to 10 3/4. At resistance here, next target is 13. MNMD, beautiful base pattern, breaks out and rises. Friday was a big day for it, up 8.5% in a lousy market and breaking out. Your target is 5. Micron, along with most of the semiconductors in rising channels, but it is at resistance. The pullback to the trend line makes it an intriguing 1, 2, 3, 4. If it gets a fifth wave, 94.5 is my target. NGL, beautiful long-term chart. Run up coil, breakout long flag, breakout flag. Target 7. NKTX broke out and ran and pulled back slightly. But now that it's above all this stuff, my next target is 7. Nanox, disappointing indeed. Just didn't do what I wanted to do. I'm still expecting it might run again, but it better not break support. Right now, your support is 5 3/4, 6. NTNX has been phenomenal all year. Take a look at this move from the low teens to the high 40s, recently reaching 47.83. Extension targets are 51 and 55. NTRA, V bottom, explosive move, rising flag. Extension targets mid-60s, low 70s. Omega, big pop, and then a pullback Friday, so watch this one. A move above 6 1/4 gets you 9. OSUR, long-term base pattern, breakout flag. I'm thinking an extension to $10. PATH breaks out of a base. We put a swing on it. It ran up to the target and backed off. This is now what it looks like. Not going to be surprised if this gets to 28 and 32. PAY in a rising channel back to support. It needs to hold here. You got a double top at about 19. That's your near-term target. You get through that, low 20s. PBYI, long-term base, multiple lows. Big base being built now for a couple of years. Breakout on Friday, it appears. You get to 5 1/4. Your target is 6 1/4. PHR V bottoms platform breaks out with a breakaway gap. Moving averages cross over. It runs up into resistance and forms a flag in here. We're breaking that flag and we're looking at 27 and 30. PHVS popped, get with the gap, formed the flag right there. We break out of that, I can see 34, 30 and 34. PI, tech trader swing from here, made it up to all my targets. Now looking for a hold and a pop that gets me to 100. Palantir broke down this week. That is no longer a swing. I do not like the way it's acting. Technicals aren't bad, but I don't like when they break lateral price support trend lines are now under their moving averages. POL with a big pop wedge and a pop wedge. We get one more. If we do, this could double from here. PSTG, key resistance, 38. But the way it's consolidating above the moving average tells me it may try that. And if it does, next target is 40.5 and then 44. Peloton, big pop breakout on Friday, getting out of a base. With now extension targets at 8.25, half, and 10. QS exploded on Thursday, backed off Friday, but it looks like it may have had a big bottoming pattern in here, which calls for a rally to 11 and 14. Quick rising channel, looking good. Had a good day Friday, up 9%. Extension target 16. RVVG 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a pullback. Not sure if it's got a lot more, but a very bullish chart indeed. Extension target is 20. Our KLB exploded. We put a swing on it. It ran to the target and backed up hard. I do not want this under 5. Targeting 6, 6.75, and 8. RNA breaks out of a long downtrend with a breakaway gap and retests. Popped up, and that was in a rising configuration, which says 12.5, 3/4 is your next target. Roy Van, long-term beautiful rising channel for this biotech. Looks like that. I'm thinking we do a retest of 13 and then 15. Run rolled over with some of the solar stocks. I'm very concerned. This is a tech trader swing, which might have been stopped on Friday. That's right on the gap there. Any further damage, we'll probably test 13.75 to 14. RX breakout, retest, and pop. Now clear sailing, in my opinion, to 14 and 17. Keep an eye on this one next week. CABA 1, 2, 3, 4. Fourth wave consolidation near the moving average and trend line must hold. Targets are 27, 31, and mid-30s. Another shipper, Starbuck Carriers, with a breakout retest and now move up towards resistance. If it gets through here, 25 is your target. Look at Sprouts Family Markets doing great. What a rising channel that is. Long-term target is met at the all-time high. If we break through here, we might see mid-50s. SGHT, V-bottom, coil, breakout. We have a swing on this one. If it holds that flag, we could see 7, 8, and 9. Shopify breaks out to new ties and pulls back and tests. There's key support right there. Stop under 70, target 80 and 90. SHOT, after a big run up, pulls back in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave falling wedge. Time for a pop? We think so. We'll see. But I don't want this under the 275. Targets 5 and 7.5. Saidu exploded, pulled back, held a moving average, and popped again. If it gets through 15, you might see 18. SLMO popped and pulled back. We put a swing on it. It formed the coil, broke out and flagged, and broke out, is now flagging again. Target 50. Snap, beautiful long-term base, breakout, run up, and a pullback, retest. That might be your channel. Target is 20 if it goes. SPR, breakaway gap, strong channel, run up to the target at resistance. Next target, if it extends, is 37. SRRK popped out, we put a swing on it, then formed a wedge and broke out again, and pulled back and reversed sharply. Retest of 20 is in order. We get through that mid-20s. SSNT, powerful chart. Explodes, wedges, pops, runs up and retests, and exploded Thursday and Friday. It's now gone from 3 to 22, folks, and it looks like it extended, but it could have big momentum on an upswing. Careful, though, it's due for a big pullback. SSYS, I believe, still a takeout candidate. They've gotten a couple offers they turned down, but take a look at this one. 15.5 and 18 is targets. STIM, pop coiled, popped, retested, popped flag, and this is one strong little chart, isn't it? 4.5 target. STNE swing broke out and it continues to run, even though it pulled back, it broke the channel. Let's call that a different angle, something more like that. Next target is 20. STTK breakaway gap and rising coil or flag. Boy, is that powerful look. I think this is going to be low teens. SYRS popped the base, pulled back and tested it, ran again and pulled back again. It's got a 1, 2, 3, 4. Fifth wave, $10 target. TAL, another educational stock and a swing, I think that breaks his wedge and runs up to 15.16. TGTX, breakaway gap, little mini wedge. And then a stair-step move all the way up with a really good close Friday. Now looking for 23. TK, another shipper, maybe emerging here. 8 3/4 and 10 are your targets. TWST, beautiful base, flag, breakout, retest. If it does extend, once you get past 41, you're looking at 48. U popped, we put a swing on it, it ran up nicely, but backed off. If it holds here, my next target is mid-40s. UEC in the uranium group, should that get over 7, might run towards 8 or even 9. UIS swing trade, breakaway move, strong run up, pullback, and now channeling up. Beautiful day Friday, jumping 86 cents or 15%. This volume picked up to the best we've seen in weeks. This is a key breakout across the triple top. This swing now looks like an $8 stock. Up, breaks out of a wedge, or a base, I should say, and pulls back, but snaps right back. Feels like a stock that wants to go higher to 7 or 8. VIRC, real quiet, breakaway move, coil, explosive gap, and a really strong run up. Highest level reach on this stock, 16 years. Now looking to see if it gets up in the mid-teens. BIST's been a steady runner, and right now it's coiling nicely. If we're able to move out of this, your next target is 40 and 40, 38 and 42. Viking, breakaway gap, now a flag. If it holds that flag and breaks out, 25 is your next target. BRT's been in a phenomenal uptrend all year and doesn't look done yet, but I would put a stop under 43. Your target is 53. VSAT breaks out of a base and moves up steadily. Right now at support, stop under 24.85, but this one gets over 29. We're looking at 32.3. BST, phenomenal rising channel. It's taking it from low 20s to high 30s. The extension target is mid 40s. BTEX exploded Friday out of a 6-7 week flag. Extension target is 8 3/4. WPM, we mentioned earlier, that's the silver leader that's had multiple waves up as that support. WRAP, pop and a long consolidation. If it gets over 3.5, I'm looking at 4.5 and 6. US Steel, as I told you when it was trading in the 20s, that this could be a takeout. Eventually got it off for over in the 54, 55 range, I believe. And it's just sitting there, but I believe it's not done yet. There may be a higher offer even. Zim, beautiful pop, pull back and pop at resistance here, but an extension could get this into the high teens. And finally, Zixi on the long side, breaking out of a base and flagging tells me that if it does break out of here, we're looking at the 14. That's a look at all the longs, and we're going to look at a few shorts and call it a day. I added AEHR, folks, despite the fact I love this chart long term. I do not like what I'm seeing short term. It wasn't acting well for a couple months now. This rising wedge, which failed at resistance right there, all over hard, is at support. Feels like it's going to break down, doesn't it? 17, 13 are your targets. ASAN breaks that wedge to the downside. We talked about it last week. Your targets are 15.5 and 13.5. AVAV, I just spotted this weekend. This wedge tells me, and its breakdown of every day this week tells me something may not be right here. It certainly broke down technically. Your targets are 114, 104, and maybe all the way down here to 98 to 100. CHX in the oil group broke down under support. Now looking for a test of 25. CMT, big drop, bear flag, and breakdown. Boy, if this one breaks here, it could be a $13 stock. CQP in the oil and gas sector, breakdown, snapback. And this is going to be key. If it breaks above there, you're stopped. If it doesn't, it rolls over. 47 and 44 targets. CSPI, breakdown, bear wedge. Rising wedge or bear flag is breaking down here. Minimum target 16, secondary target 13. Fly wire breaks down and forms a large wedge. We pointed that out 2 weeks ago. Note the pullback recently from 24 to 2083. And you break from here and we might see 17. Fox Factory, big breakdown from a massive multi-year top and then a rally to resistance, maybe failing, but not yet. Keep an eye on this one for a drop down. If it does roll over, retesting the low at 40.41. INMD, big bear wedge, maybe breaking as well. Watch this one. I wouldn't be shocked to see downside targets in the low teens, folks. First, we're looking at 16 and then 13. JLL is a tech trader swing short. On Friday, it broke support by dropping another $1.10, 4%, but it closed underneath all of this. Looking for a drop to 22 and 19. LNTH, which I believe merged and changed their name on Friday, rising bear flag. LQDT also closed below this line, just slightly, but it looks like a breakdown. If it does break down, 15 and 12.5, 13 might be targets. NTES with a massive drop and a big pop to resistance, but it's rolling back. Feels like it's going to retest and make lower lows here. Walmart. Rising wedge or flag. Took it right back to there. I'm creating a new down channel for this. And it looks like this. I called for a move down to 142.45 on Walmart. XPEL also similar pattern. Massive top breakdown, rally resistance, and roll over, or it may be rolling over. Targets are 40 and 35. And that is it, folks, for me. And that's a look at the weekend webinar highlighting the indices, the underlying technicals, the major ETFs we follow, over 140 stocks and about 30 shorts. And that's a look at some of what's going on in Wall Street, folks. Be prepared for Monday. It's going to be a doozy next week. Bye, everybody.